Hi, welcome. It's Amy from the Ross Farm, and this is Sheep and Wool School. Pardon me if my energy is a little off today, but it's been one of those days. Did you ever just have a day when everything you try to do ends up completely incapable of being done, and one frustration just leads to another? That's kind of the day I'm having here, so give me a little grace, all right? So, for on the wheel, the cherry knob came, got the Hansen out, got ready to put it all together, and realized the knob isn't missing. There's nothing wrong with the knob. The knob is fine. What's really missing is the internal tensioning string. And that's the thing that they suggested that I order with the knob to replace both at the same time. And I said, I don't need that. Mine's fine. So I don't have that, but I have an extra knob. And when I went to take it apart, it's an Allen wrench bolt, and I didn't have an Allen wrench. So I couldn't even take it apart. And I went online to try to order the string piece, and the string piece is $7.50, which is fine, but it's $4.50 shipping for a string. For a string. Like, put it in an envelope with a stamp. It's a string. So I just couldn't even deal with that. I walked away. I have since gone to the hardware store today and gotten an Allen wrench, but I can't find the braided cord that's used for the internal tensioning device to try to replace that on my own. So it's looking like I'm going to have to order a $7.50 string and $4.50 for shipping. So that was pretty frustrating. So I walked away from that one, and I thought, okay, I'm just going to get out my electric eel wheel. I think it's my 6.0. And I pulled it out and I got it all set up. And I thought, I'm just going to sit here and spin, and it will be very zen. And I will forget about my trouble with the Hansen, and things will get better. So the motor won't start. I did the trick where you flick the switch back and forth and you turn the knob, and I got it to go a little bit, but then I couldn't get it to stop. The foot pedal clicker thing, that's not stopping it. So I can't make it run right now either. So I thought, I'm just going to walk away from these. I'll get out my Daedalus. My Daedalus is brand new. It's beautiful. It's smooth. Also, my EEW was clacking. So I got out the Daedalus, and I'm telling you all this not because I like to complain or vent or rant or whatever. I just know that you guys have all had to deal with this as well, and I'm right there with you. But today, it's all of the things at once. So I got out the Daedalus, and I didn't have the power cord, the power thing that plugs into the wall, or the power block that goes with it. Neither one of those were with the Daedalus, so I have no way to power it. I have to go find those. So I thought, e-spinning is out for today. I'll just go get the Shack Reeves. So I went into my beautiful living room, and I sat on the ottoman, and I pulled out my Shack Reeves, and I thought, I'm just gonna spin, and it's gonna feed my soul, and I'll forget about the e-spinners, because Barry, my Shack Reeves, is my best friend and my go-to, and I'm sure that this is going to be the zen I need right now. And it won't stop throwing the drive band. It won't stop throwing the drive band. So I'm going to call my friend Stacy and see if she can help me troubleshoot what's going on with Barry, because my Reeves won't even run. Okay, so there's nothing on the wheel today because I can't get any of them to work. But on the needles is looking much better. Although I didn't touch it today for fear of completely ruining it. Or missing one of the, I'm at a place now where I need to pay attention. If I miss one of the instructions, I'm not going to be able to deal with that after everything with the wheels. So this is this lovely brown glob is the test knit. I can't open it up and show you what it looks like, but it's much larger now because I am almost through the 4th of 5 skeins of the Ashen Wensleydale, and the cutoff for the test knit is tomorrow, but I knit so much on it yesterday that the arthritis in my thumb is acting up, and so I'm not going to knit on it today, also because I'm probably going to screw it up if I try. So we're going to leave that for tomorrow, and Thea has said that it's not a hard and fast rule that it must be done tomorrow. So I'm thinking with whatever's going on in my universe today, I am better off to just let it simmer till tomorrow. But I'm really excited because I did cast on my Shiny Squirrel. And it is the bias pattern by Helena Bristow in her silk and linen yarn. And I'm doing the throw size, so it's an awful lot of stitches, but I did the correct amount, and I am doing the garter edge before I start the actual pattern, and so that made me very happy. I did that a couple of days ago when I needed a little bit of a break from the great brown mass. So that really did make me happy. Now, the other thing that made me happy today, I'm gonna take a little bit of a positive spin right now. So the thing that did make me happy today was Ambah O'Brien launched a new pattern, and I forget what it's called. I'll put that down in the show notes. I probably should have written that a note to myself. But anyways, it is one of her patterns that is very good for an Advent. And I immediately saw this pattern and all of the different blocks with the motif. And then I thought that this would be perfect for a Gilmore Girls Advent that I got a couple of years ago that was very white. It has a lot of white in the mini-skeins. Not a whole lot of color at all. And so I've kind of been frustrated with what I was going to do with it, because any of the traditional patterns where you're striping with the different skeins from an Advent wouldn't really work if most of the yarn in the stripes is white. So I'm excited because I think that the different motifs in this wrap will look really, really good in the mostly white yarns, especially with a strong color in the sashing, the lattice work in between the motifs. So that has caught my eye, and that has made me very happy, because for 2 years I have just been kind of tossing this particular Advent back in the box and growling at it because I just don't know what to do with it. I love Gilmore Girls. I love Gilmore Girls themed yarns, but this just, my particular kit that I got just did not get enough color, enough dye on each particular skein. So it's been a little frustrating. And I'm not going to say who the dyer was because it doesn't matter. I'm sure I'll find a use for the yarn. That being said, it's time for Sheep and Wool School, speaking of uses for yarn. And today we're going to talk about what to do with Jacob yarn. Jacob fleece, Jacob roving, all of the things. So Jacob actually felts really well. And I have seen a couple of actual felted hats, like cowboy hats, but not. Sort of more like an outback sort of hat. Made with the Jacob fleece, and they are really, really cool how they're so heathery, like we talked about last week. The very dark heathery charcoal gray looks amazing in a felted hat. So I was really impressed that it was able to be felted into a hat and then hold its shape so well. So that's one thing that you can definitely do with it. But what I do with it is I knit a lot of really hard wearing accessories and sweaters, mostly hats and mittens and sweaters. I do have a really, really absolutely gorgeous cowl that my former assistant Anna hand spun and hand knit for me. And she actually gave it to me at Scooter's funeral. She had just finished it the day that she found out he passed. And it's absolutely stunning. It has great stitch definition. It's soft enough to be worn next to my neck. And the shade is just really, really gorgeous. It was one of the whiter of my fleeces, which most of my fleeces are pretty dark, but this one came out sort of platinum, and it's really, really beautiful. If I think about it, I'll try to drag it out and take a photo for next week. But we've done a couple of different mittens. We had a mitten kit at one point. I might bring that back. We had a mitten kit at one point that made really, really cute cabled mittens. And I want to say that was an Amy Masico pattern, but I could be totally wrong on that. She's not designing anymore, but her patterns are still available. So I'm going to look that up too. And I will drop a comment down below of what exactly the mittens, who the designer is and what the pattern is. I might bring that back as a kit because they were really cute. And of course, I just finished the design of the hat in the willow yarn, which is Drew's swirling shepherd hat. And I did a neat decrease on the top that kind of spins in a little bit of a swirl on the top, because that's my favorite kind of decreases to do. And I think it's really striking when you do it in this two-tone bulky yarn. So that pattern is also available. When you buy a skein of willow, we can actually send you the PDF for that pattern. So I wanted to actually show you the UK Shetland yarn that we had made. And I had mentioned that it was much, much lighter than our yarn. And I wanted to just show you the difference. So this is my yarn from my flock. This is a Jacob, very light sport weight. It's called Alice. Alice is one of our ewes. And then these two are the lighter, it's light gray and even lighter gray. And they are produced for us in the UK. And I brought them in for the website. So they are available now on the website. I would do any kind of color work with my yarn and one of the UK yarns. Either one of them would be plenty of contrast for color work. But that's probably going to be my next project when I figure out what I want to do with it. I just keep thinking about a couple of the Kirsten Kapoor shawls that I always really loved and how they would look in two different styles of Jacob yarn. So that's probably what's coming down the pike. There are plenty of methods for using the Jacob. I would definitely core spin it and use it for rug yarn if that's something that you're into. A woven, even a peg loom woven wool lock rug with the Jacob would be really cool, especially if you wove it just from the fleece beside you, like in the pattern that the sheep was in. I keep thinking about that. I always think about making one of the vegan pelts. Have you heard of the vegan pelts? So look up the Vegetarian Viking. Madeline is amazing in what she can do with just a shorn fleece to create something that has the visual interest of an actual pelt by just a felting process on the back of the fleece. So I'm thinking about if you were weaving on a peg loom, putting the fleece as it is, spot-wise into your weaving on the peg loom and making something that appears to be the same visual as the live sheep, or even doing one of the vegetarian or vegan pelts with it. So those are things that I would do with it. And of course, you're never going to go wrong with mittens and a hat. We have a customer that comes to every Shenandoah Valley Fiber Festival, and she makes her son basically a watch cap every year out of a different one of our fibers. And most years when he comes to the booth with her, he's wearing one of the Jacob watch caps that she made for him several years ago. So Jacob it's a really fun fiber, and I think you're really going to enjoy it if you give it a shot. So the only other thing I wanted to mention is I'm starting to see some orders coming in of Cheviot and Jacob for our anything along. And today, another bright spot in my day was getting tagged by Isaac and seeing him plying our Jacob. And that was really fun. I shared it over on the Ross Farm Fibers Facebook page, and it was just fascinating. He's been blending some of the Jacob and the Cheviot with some other things, and he's participating in our Rust Belt Fiber Sheds 1 year, 1 outfit project. So he's actually using our fiber to create an outfit that he will wear to probably to the fashion show next year at Symposium. I'm not sure exactly when he plans to launch his ensemble, but I'm really excited that it's going to have my Cheviot and my Jacob in it. And he tagged our anything along, so that was really exciting. And I don't remember if I mentioned it, but today is the last day to sign up for our team for Spin Together. So I know this is going out pretty late in the day, but you have until midnight tonight, I guess, to join us on the team. And I just did see that Isaac has joined us, and I'm really excited about that because that kicks off next Saturday. So hopefully by next Saturday, I will have functional equipment and be able to actually spin something, because otherwise it's not going to be Spin Together for me. It's going to be everybody spin without me. So I'm excited about that. The anything along is going to be, as we roll along, it's going to be really fun. But I'm really excited to do Spin Together. I'm really excited to work more with my Jacobs. And I just got a few more fleeces in, so I might even do something raw. I love washing fleeces. Is that weird? That's probably weird, right? It's really fun. Anyways, I've been in the sewing studio a lot this week. Well, not as much as I would like, but I've gotten a couple of things done. So last week I got all of the machine sewn binding onto the quilts. 10 small quilts and 7 large quilts are now waiting to be hand bound. Because the technique that I use is I sew the binding, machine sew the binding, raw edge to raw edge, right sides together on the front side of the quilt, and then I fold it over to the back and hand stitch it down so that it has a very nice finished edge. And there's no visible seams because the one seam is encased when you fold it over, and the seam in the back is actually hand sewn with very small stitches, so it disappears. So I am about 3/4 of the way through the red and pink quilt that I did last week, and I started that one first because it was Valentine's Day and it felt sort of festive. So I started with the red and pink one, and I really, really love this quilt. It's pretty stunning. I'll show it to you probably next week when it's all done with the binding. It's really beautiful, and the back, rather than do a lighter back that would sort of just disappear, I did a very, very vibrant scarlet red back on it. Yes, I'm probably going to Wish I hadn't if it comes to the point that I need to wash it because the front is very light, but it is just so striking. And you can probably see the red fabric in the photo that we put up on the back. So I'm working on that. And I have 2 weeks left to finish all of that hand stitching for the polka dot pincushion UFO challenge for February, which was number 14, bind everything in the stack. I didn't realize what all was in the stack. That was psychotic, but we're going to get through it because it's good to have goals. And even if I don't get through it, I got something done, and something's always better than nothing, right? I guess. So that's what I'm working on in the studio, as well as I did kind of start a new project because I needed something to think about besides binding 17 quilts. So I started a new project called Sparklers, and it is a patriotic wall hanging, which will go on the wall in my living room. I'm kind of excited about that, and I actually wanted to do that, the piecing on it this week or this month, so that it can go to Deb at the pincushion and get quilted and be done in time to hang late May into June and July for the patriotic holidays over the summer. So my thought was if I got it pieced now, and actually there's another patriotic one behind it. So hopefully if I get those two pieced now and off to Deb, I will have them back to use for the patriotic holidays in the summer. And this year with, my word this year is organize. So I'm trying to organize my projects so that they can be completed in time for the holiday. Now I missed last year with the tree skirt, but it's all ready for next year, right? So even if I don't get everything done for the patriotic holidays this summer, they'll be ready for next year. Or they won't. It's a goal. It's good to have goals. So the cool thing about the Sparklers pattern is I was introduced to a new to me, we're going to call it a tool. It's called Triangles on a Roll. So I've always done I call them stitch and whack, but they are, you make a line diagonally both directions. I'll show you both ways in one of my short technique videos that we're going to get rolling on here very soon. But you basically take a square of fabric, you sew, you make lines both directions, you sew on either side of those lines, and then you cut them apart into multiple half square triangles. And they can go anywhere from 2 half square triangles to like, I want to say 8. 2, 3, 4, yes, 8. So I'm really excited to show you that as well. And I wanted to bring this product to your attention, and I'll do a technique video on it when I get a moment. But the Triangles on a Roll is actually a piece of paper that you pin. It's very, very lightweight paper, almost like, not quite interfacing, but it's very, very lightweight paper. And it's printed with all the grids, and you pin it to the fabric, and then you sew on the marked lines, you cut on the other marked lines, and voila, peel off the paper, and you have all of these half square triangles. And everything stays very neat and tidy. You don't have to worry about your seam allowance, your presser foot, whatever. It's just like an instant mix box cake. You add water and oil, stir, stuff it in the oven, and it's cake. And that's exactly how it is with these Triangles on a Roll. So I'm really excited to show those to you and for you to maybe give those a little shot too if you're a sewist and quilter. Because they're really kind of fun and they're not expensive. So something to try. Now, the thing that I've had the most fun with this week is something that's new for me. I was playing with dye, and those of you who have known me long term know I am a natural girly. I am an all natural. The color of the sheep was no ifs, ands, or buts, natural girl. was. Because this is really fun, man. I understand now why everybody wants to be an indie dyer. Because, oh, this is fun. So in front of me here, I have 4 of the skeins that I dyed this week. And one was kind of an experiment. And I kind of like the way it turned out. This is actually 2 colors dyed on top of each other. It was an acid green over dyed with extreme fuchsia. And these ones were all just straight up dyes at different levels. This is actually the same dye. I just did it a little bit differently. And one came out this very vibrant kind of periwinkle purple. And one came out this very soft violet. And then this one I absolutely adore. This is the color of my African violets. And I need this. Like, this is going nowhere. This is mine. But the cool thing is, this one is a sport weight of a medium wool. This one is Tunis, and these 2 are the Montadale, which I thought was really interesting. I dearly love the Montadale. It's the one that is made on the spinning mule in Maine, the last remaining spinning mule. And it is such a squishy and airy, puffy yarn. And it just took the dye so beautifully. And there is so much variation in tone that these tonals are just absolutely spectacular. And I kind of, honestly, I kind of can't believe I did this. So I'm really excited about it. I am struggling a little bit with the turquoise. Turquoise has heavy metals in it, and it's really, really hard to get it to set. And like 4 days later, mine's still bleeding. So I'm going to have to go back in with some more citric acid and some more heat and see if I can just cook the blue right into it. But it's been frustrating me. So I'm figuring things out. I'm doing some math. I'm doing some chemistry, playing with different materials, and I'm really enjoying it. So we should have some new colors coming probably for Maryland Sheep and Wool. And I'm really excited about that. So, you know what's in season right now? Snow. Snow is in season right now. We have more snow. I'm kind of over the snow. It's better than the gray, I think. I think white is better than gray, but I'm really over the snow. We have this joke in our house that every time it snows, it's because our husky Oakley has gotten the iPad and ordered more. And it was Oakley's 3rd birthday. Hi, baby. Oakley's 3rd birthday was Wednesday. And we teased that the only thing Oakley asked for his birthday was more snow. And he's gotten it. And tomorrow we're getting even more. So I have been making all the comfort food. So this week I did another roast beef with potatoes and carrots and onions in my mother's Le Creuset Dutch oven from the 60s or 70s. It's that flame red that kind of goes orange. It's hideous, but it's my mother's. It's one of the few things in my kitchen that was my mother's because she wasn't really a good cook. My gram taught me to cook. My mother was a working lady, and she knew how to make stew, and she knew how to make pot roast, and for everything else, we went to Gram's. So on that note, I made a big pot of shrimp and corn chowder. I do love shrimp and corn chowder. It's one of my favorites. And I also made pulled pork with green beans and corn that I had actually blanched and frozen from a local farm here called Zalays. And if you're ever in Northeast Ohio and you find yourself in the Cuyahoga Valley National Park, you need to go to Zalays. Not only is it a little produce market, but they have all of these beautiful covered gliders out front. You can get roasted corn on the cob. You can get hot dogs and ice cream sundaes and all sorts of things, and sit right there in the midst of all the cornfields on these delightful gliders, and then take a beautiful ride through our favorite national park. So if you end up in Northeast Ohio, here's my tip to you. Head to Zalays. They open June 5th or 6th. The first weekend in June is when they'll be open. And I will be there when they do, because we love it so much. And it's really important to support our local farmers. And I'm very excited to still be eating Zalays corn in February. And I know when I put that on the table for the Valentine's meal that I made for John, I was pretty happy. Not gonna lie, he's pretty happy. That the head is just, he's smiling and shaking his head right over here next to me. And I also made cornbread with that, and excuse me, and also crustless quiche, which is a big favorite in our house. I do it in a 13x9 pan because we can cut it up, have a couple of slices of it, put it in the fridge, and then it's a quick, high-protein breakfast to get us going first thing in the morning without a whole lot of muss or fuss. Minute and a half in the microwave, put it on, on a plate, stick it on the table, gobble it up, out the door. So that was good. And the strawberries are starting to come in. It seems like it's getting to be strawberry season in Florida, so we're seeing more strawberries in the market, and blueberries too. So I made a beautiful berry compote so that we can have fruit and yogurt parfaits for breakfast as well. And my favorite yogurt right now is called Greek God, I think. It's a honey vanilla. It's absolutely delicious, and with fresh berry compote and a little bit of the protein granola on top. Oh my goodness, it's an awesome breakfast too. So that's my hot tip for you on that one. And yesterday was Valentine's Day, and believe it or not, I had a Valentine, and he gave me a beautiful bouquet of roses that I immediately put in my giant Duncan Miller vase. So Duncan Miller was a glass company in the town that we grew up in Washington, Pennsylvania, right near where the farm is. And everybody that we knew in our family had some sort of a connection to the Duncan Miller glass factory. So we have a little bit of a collection of some Duncan Miller. And this is a 15-inch vase, which is the biggest one they made. And it's the homestead pattern. And it looks absolutely spectacular with these completely gorgeous roses on the top. And the thing I like about the large-scale vase like that is it's not going to be overpowered by the hydrangeas from my bush out back, from a dozen roses, from sunflowers, from some of my big iris or any of my larger flower bouquets. I love to raise flowers, and when I pick flowers at the store, I always pick the big stuff because I feel like it just has such an impact. You can have 2 or 3 really large, beautiful hydrangeas, and it will have so much more impact than a small bouquet of daisies. Although I do love daisies, but I have a different vase for those. When the daisies come in, I run out in the backyard and I cut a bunch of those because I have a big patch of Shasta daisies. Love the daisies, always have. So that brings me to what else I'm really excited about this week, and that is starting some seeds indoors. So I have set up a little area kind of in an unused corner of my laundry room, because like the washer and dryer are right there, and then there's this whole other end of the room. The freezer is over there, but there's really nothing else. So I have that ready to set up for seed starting. And I have a couple of the LED tube lights that we had in the old warehouse that we kept, and I will be able to hang those from the ceiling on chains to raise and lower them, to give the correct amount of lights to the seed starts. And so I'm getting really excited to start those. I think I'm going to start with some lettuce first, because there's a way to put it out before frost is over, so that it can continue to grow outside. And then shortly after that, I will be planting my tomato plants, which I'm super excited about because I got several heirloom tomato plant seeds, that I haven't been able to find in plants for several years. So I'm really excited to get those in seeds and to start those myself this year, and hopefully have enough of them left that when it comes time for my local garden club to have their plant swap, I'll be able to show up with a couple of heirloom tomato plants that nobody else can get, and maybe I'll make a friend, somebody who also loves Mr. Stripey or Garden Peach or Pineapple or Marvel or Mortgage Lifter, or Boxcar Willie. That's one of my favorites too. Everybody knows about, the German green and all of that sort of stuff, and the Brandywine. But the ones that I really love are just super obscure, I guess. And so I'm really excited to be able to grow those. And those came from tomatofest.com. If you're an heirloom tomato girly like me and you want to go get yourself some seeds, they were kind of having a little bit of a sale as well. But the shipping was really reasonable. And the shipping for all of my tomato seeds was less than the shipping is for that string. So I got a lot of seeds. And I'm really excited about those. And I want to plant some, I want to start some herbs and a few flowers as well. I wanted to try to start some zinnias this year because I think I can use zinnias for natural dyeing. And that was kind of exciting. So I'm going to give that a shot. I've really been spending a lot of my time when it's gray or snowing watching a gentleman who has a YouTube channel called Stony Acres Gardening. And he's right here in the Ohio area somewhere. I don't really know where. I guess I probably should have looked that up. But he's in my growing area, and he's got the same last frost date as me. So everything he says, I don't have to translate into my area because it's already there. I'm 7A, I believe, or 6A, I forget. And my last frost date is May 15th. So your mileage may vary on when you need to plant your seeds, but I'm going to get some in my pots here in February. And that is really, really exciting because I haven't been able to garden really in the last few years. Since I moved to Ohio, I haven't really been able to do a lot of gardening until last year when we got my raised beds in. And it was kind of late in the season by the time we got them done. So they didn't really have a lot of time to take off. So I'm starting early this year. And you know me, I got a farm, even if it's half an acre in town. I'm going to do something. May not have my chickens or sheep or donkeys or horses or peacocks, but I can have a garden and I can go to Zalays and enjoy their garden. So really excited about that. So that's how I'm getting through the gray days of February here in Northeast Ohio. And I hope wherever it is that you are, that spring is coming very soon for you too. So we are 26 days away from Nash Yarn Fest. I'm really excited. Can't wait. I hope I'm going to see a lot of you there. Please, if you are watching this and you're going to Nash Yarn Fest, please come tell me that you watched this vlog, because I had one person tell me at the symposium that they had been watching it. And that was like really exciting because I feel like I'm talking to all of you. And it's really nice to see who's on the other side of that screen. So hi, come talk to me when you see me at a show. After that, we're going to Maryland Sheep and Wool, which we all know, like gold standard. Can't wait. Love, love, love. The folks in our barn are delightful. I am in the same barn with Sheila Anderson, Urban Girl Yarns, and her stuff is amazing. She and I did a collab on some Corriedale that I'm thinking is available over in her web store. But Sheila's my girl, and we're both in the same barn at Maryland, so you'll have to stop and see me and stop and see her. And then after that, I'm doing Great Lakes Fiber Show, which I told you guys, it's the first time back since 2018. Really excited. I can sleep in my own bed and pet my own dogs that night. And I can still see all of you and have an amazing time with all of my friends for the weekend. So that's exciting. After that, in June, I will be at the Mid-Atlantic Fiber Fest, Mid-Atlantic Fiber Association Conference. I'm vending only, not teaching, just vending. And that's really exciting. It's in Millersville, which is sort of near the Lancaster, Harrisburg area, central Pennsylvania. So I get to go back to PA for that. And then my Texas friends, I will be in Houston in July for the Contemporary Hand Weavers Guild, doing one of my weekend workshops on rare breeds. So if you want to fully immerse yourself, join me in Houston. We're going to have a blast. So on that note, got to go try to fix the Hanson with my Allen keys that I just picked up, and keep trying to get ready for next week for the kickoff for Spin Together, or Everybody Spins Without Me, whichever. And I'll see you next week, okay? Head on over to the website, therossfarm.com. Pick up some good Jacob, either from me or from one of your local purveyors. Doesn't matter as long as it's Jacob. And tag it on social media. Tag me and tag our Ross Farm Anything Along. Because I can't wait to see what you're making. All right. We'll see you next time.